next season when you're 34 years old getting a new contract, how many teams are actually going to want you? Are these decisions working against him even more?
Everybody wakes up this morning to the news that one of the most long-lasting special relationships in the NBA, James Harden and Daryl Morey, which has gone on for some time, has evidently found some rough times. In fact, when James Harden stood in front of everyone that he was meeting with in China.
What was that, a camp like with kids there, right? Kids,
yeah.
like something like that.
Yep. And said, Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be part of an organization that he's a part of.
To be clear for the listeners, that's not you saying, let me repeat that. That was James Harden.
James Harden said that.
James Harden actually said, let me repeat that.
I mean, and my buddy Taco Trey Kirby, I loved, he said, James Harden has the deepest trade request bag in league history. He's done a classic just give up. He's gone on a party tour. Now he's slandering his own GM, one of the greats. Obviously, this is extremely troubling, I think, if you are a Sixers fan, just given what a mess this has become. It was just a few days ago that I think, most of the time, the fans are going to be on the GM side and they're going to be on the team side. And it appeared as if there were no good deals for James Harden out there. Nothing had been materializing. And so Daryl Morey made it publicly known that they expect James Harden to be at training camp, and he thinks that that gives them the best chance to win, and they're not making a bad trade. And if they are going to move him, that they need to bring back a star caliber player, and they need to be able to make themselves better. It does not appear that that's the case, that that's on the table right now. And so you knew there was going to be a response from Harden. And this was the response, and this was rather scathing, to say the least. And it appears as if this has gotten rather personal between these two. And so I know you wrote an article about it. I'd imagine you're kind of stunned when you see it for the first time. I was.
Oh, yeah. I was shocked. I pulled out my phone this morning and was like, is this real? I saw it, tweeted from like an aggregated account first, like the first thing that popped up on my For You. And then I saw it was originally tweeted by Shams. And then I saw there was a different angle of the video where you can hear the crowd cheering for Harden afterwards as he kind of can't hold his smile. And any other questions? All right.
This, I will say, to your point, this is, no lie, the very first time that this has happened where I thought, is that AI?
Yeah, is this real? Yes.
Did somebody, and I looked at it a couple different times because it's a very clear camera. Yeah. Whoever shot that had a very, very clear camera. And I was like, is that like superimposed? And then they dubbed this in there? Because I know, obviously, when you see all these songs and everything, they can do that. I mean, somebody could do it.
It's not hard to do at all.
And I'm like, did he really say that? Like, because it's just a strange thing to stand up there and say. And then you've got the cheers in the background. Now, look, he's got a
the
captive
cheers are funny.
Well, because he's got a captive audience.
Yes,
I mean,
they love Daryl Morey.
Yeah, not exactly a fan favorite in China.
Yeah. May have also been a language barrier like, hey, yay, I'm here to see James Harden. Yeah, whatever he says, you're cheering.
Right. So you and I, same page, we're checking if it's real. Once you realize that it is authentic, then what?
Well, at first, I just think it's important to say for some listeners, I'm sure most people know, but for some, the reason why Harden is saying this is because of the idea, the thought that there was a handshake agreement between he and Morey when he took the discounted deal last offseason. Harden had a $47 million player option that he opted out of to take a $14 million pay cut. That enabled the Sixers to get PJ Tucker and Daniel House. And we all know that the Sixers were investigated for tampering last year. They were hit with the 2023 and 24 second-round draft pick fine for talking early with Tucker and House. And as far as we know, through all the phones and the emails and everything that they looked at, they found nothing on a legal agreement, a handshake deal, and a long-term contract between Harden and the Sixers. So Harden's mad about that. He's mad about being told that he would be traded or they would try to trade him, and then they didn't trade him. So that's why he's saying Daryl Morey's a liar for the reasons that we understand right now. That's okay. What we understand it to be.
So I think, yes, there was probably a wink when he took the pay cut last year. But I also think that this is probably more about what is going on right now.
But one quick thing. Why do you think there was a wink when he was the one leaking on Christmas Day, his team? Christmas Day, he could go to the Rockets. Like, that's not the actions of somebody who thinks they have a wink long-term agreement with the Sixers, with the team that they're on, the team they're trying to win a finals on. You don't leak time and time again all season long. Oh, you could go to Houston. You can go to Houston. Yep. That's somebody trying to create leverage that has uncertainty, in my opinion. So maybe it is all about what happened right now, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's about right now.
And that's all. Nothing else.
I think it's about him opting in. He lost all leverage, Kevin.
Yeah.
When he opted in. Like, you don't opt in unless you think you're going to get your way. And so That's why he's saying, because look, let's say he opts out. Okay? He has all the leverage in the world. The Sixers just going to let him walk?
Yeah, he would have lost a lot of money, though, that way.
Why? You don't think he could have gotten, like $150 million, $180 million? Of course he could.
No,
oh
I don't
my
think
God,
so.
Are you crazy? It would have been exactly like what just happened with Kyrie. Exactly like it.
It was from who? Kyrie re-signed. Yeah, but Kyrie re-signed with the Mavs.
And that's what I'm telling you. He would have re-signed with Philly.
So maybe with him, maybe at that point, he didn't want that type of deal. The short-term 2 to 3 year deal. Maybe he feels like he's still worth more. This is the same guy that declined, $50 million annually from the Nets. That's $161 million over 3 years. He declined that deal with the hopes of getting $250+ million the following summer.
Totally understand. Yeah. Yes, this is a guy that wants to be paid like his peers who he feels are his peers.
And over the course of time, he wanted all his money that he didn't even have an agent for years. Because he didn't want to give up the fee.
He wants the $200 billion deal that other guys have gotten, right? That's what he wants. Okay, that wasn't going to be out there. But he could certainly get more than opting in for the $34 million or whatever it is.
It was a goofy decision.
Yeah, this upcoming year. Well, goofy only if he did that without some kind of assurance that look, I'm not a Harden fan, but for him to react this kind of way, I would imagine his side of the story is, I would never have opted into that contract. But now this guy is coming back and saying he can't find a deal for it. And now I've opted into that deal. I would have never opted into that deal.
The way
unless I had an assurance that I wasn't going to have to be here. If they don't want to give me the money, they don't have to give me the money.
Sure.
Fine.
That's fair, Chris. But the way people have been talking about that around the league since it happened is this was like a panic decision. His circle looked at the market. Houston dried up. They were turning to Fred VanVleet. There was no other potential opportunities or destinations for him without taking a pay cut. And that they feared what the deal would be with the Sixers with the offers that they would have made, because there was silence from the Sixers side of things. As I put in the article, they were not talking prior to free agency, as far as I understand it. So if you're Harden in his camp, I think they just opted in and said, okay, well, let's try to play our cards right here. We take the guaranteed money, $35.6 million for this coming season, and try to force our way out to the team that we want to go to. And Like we don't know all the details here. You could be right. You could be totally right there. But
why would
with
you
the
give up
Harden
all
stuff,
your leverage? If you don't opt in, Kevin, what's the worst thing that happens?
you're still unsigned today.
Oh, give me a break. Come on. Look, I hate the guy, but let's get serious.
But the thing,
Philadelphia
really,
has to re-sign him. They can't lose him for nothing.
But what if Philadelphia is offering 3 years, 85?
No way. No way. He could have done better. Come on. Dylan Brooks got $90 million. Get out of here.
Van Vliet got 2 years, $83.6 million with a team option for the third year.
Right.
What if that was the deal Harden was being offered? Do you think he takes that deal from the Sixers? 3 years, $120-ish million with a team option on the third year. Do you think he takes that? Or is he still holding out right now for more money?
Well, didn't Kyrie get 120 and then like 6 in possible bonuses or something like that?
The Kyrie situation's a little different.
It's not. It's actually exactly the same. Where Dallas couldn't, they'd rather have the asset. Philly would rather have the asset. You're not losing him for nothing. But he gave them his opt-in. That's the only reason I could see him being mad, is I only opted in because I was given the assurance, and now he's backtracking because he can't find a deal for me.
Well, regardless, we are at the point now where, regardless of what led him to make the decision to opt in, we're at the point now that how much uglier will things get? We have him on a stage, his team sending a social media video to a bunch of people to have them posted on social to try to stir things up and make things ugly and make it toxic. That's working, right? That's working in the sense that people are talking about it today. Should Daryl have done that? Is he trustworthy? Blah, 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 this and that. But regardless of your personal feelings on any of that, the fact is, if you're James Harden right now and you're doing this, if you're Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, are you sitting back thinking, okay, let's actually give up what we can to make this deal happen? If you're a GM of any of these other teams that may be iffy about getting James Harden, there are already so many people that for years have thought of him as some malcontent that they don't have any interest in acquiring. If you're Harden, you're going to be 34 next season. This year you're 33. Next season, when you're 34 years old, getting a new contract, how many teams are actually going to want you? Are these decisions working against him even more? Next summer, the Sixers have cap space, and then the Spurs, Magic, Jazz, Raptors, Pistons, and Wizards. Harden really doesn't make any sense for any of those teams. You could make the argument like a desperate team trying to win and stay in the middle like the Wizards, but all the others don't make any sense at all. There's no argument for Harden. So then you think about sign and trades. There's not much interest today in Harden. The Clippers aren't making an acceptable offer for him. The Heat are trying for Damian Lillard at this point. So, does it come to the point that, mid-season, it's teams looking for an expiring salary? If you're Harden, you need to be doing everything you can to restore your value around the league. Regardless of what it takes, you need to restore your value everywhere, not just focus on trying to force your way out of Philadelphia. That's where I kind of come away from today watching that video. I'm like, this doesn't help you in the big picture. It might help you make things ugly with the Sixers and push your way out, but I'm not even sure that's the case necessarily if it's turning off a potential suitor like the Clippers. He just needs to think about, what can I do as a player on the court, regardless of where I'm playing, to actually give myself viable destinations.